What? 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 Okay. I'm fucking naked. Where the fuck is... What? Oh. White t-shirt. Yeah. It's weird. Honestly. What can I say? I decided to change up my my dress code. I got my tea as well. That's a big change. Got my green tea. I got it boiled at 80 degrees this time. I used a thermometer to check. Sorry. Alright. We're gonna get on with questing on my hardcore Iron Man. And I've made huge fucking leaps on this character. Get this out of the way. I'm pretty sure I'm further on this character than I am on Ultimate Iron Man, but that just says something about Ultimate Iron Man. Ghost Speaking Amulet, I've got Silver Sickle. Dragon Slayer, I leave. Eat ass. I am not doing Dragon Slayer right now. No. No. No fucking shot. 3 ghasts, level 30. Okay. Not the entertaining concept. Wow. Unbelievable. Wait, I'm missing something. Oh, I need the accuracy, but then again, I also need the Ghost Speak Amulet. Let's put all this drip on. Get my Chronicle. Get my... What do I want? How many lore runes do I have? I mean, I can do some teleports in there, but I won't need it for Nature Spirit, I don't think. Let's see. Do I need money? Well, I need to figure out how the hell I'm getting a Silver Sickle. I need to make it, I think. Jewelry, silver. What do I need for a Silver Sickle? MSRS Silver Sickle. 18 crafting. Cool. Easy. Okay, let's grab a pickaxe. Did I buy this? I think I bought a sickle mold a while ago. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. I came prepared. What is it? Do I have silver just already? No. Did somebody leave silver in the group storage? No. Okay, so... Ghost speak amulet. Ghost speak. It would have been early, there it is. And then we'll grab the lobster. Actually, do I need to grab it yet? I technically don't. Unless everything... Does everything happen... I guess everything does kind of happen over there. Okay, fuck it. We'll bring... Nah, I'll bring the tuna. I'm happy to expend that. Alright, let's do it. What do we start with? Drizzle. Okay. Pop the Chronicle. You know what would be good is those energy foods. Oh wait, what am I doing? I need to go fucking mine the silver first. And then I need to smelt the silver. Fuck. There it is. Come on. You can do this. Now we head to Ardoin. Just because of the furnace that's up here. Nail biting gameplay. Literally anything can happen at any minute. Like, a plane could come crashing down on my house right now and you wouldn't even know it was coming until it was too late. Like, you really gotta stick around. You're never gonna know until you're there, you know? Hate Ardoin music with passion. I hate Corrend, but I can see, yeah, I mean, this one's not great. Well, actually, I like this bit. It's the beginning that sucks, but this bit kind of goes hard. Okay, so that's the silver sickle. Let's check the bank. Let me see if we've got that energy food in here. That'd be nice. I need to try and help stock up some of them as well. There's like a fruit stall where you can steal from. The start as well. Yeah. And like Corrend, if you've ever been there, is kind of the same for me. It's just so loud at the beginning. Oh, I think that's the... Nope, never mind. There it is. Holy shit, they got loads of this stuff. Let's pop some of that, some of that. And then I think I'll just take another 2 before it, because I have to run so far to get to Mauritania. It's really annoying. I have to get back and forth. Is it easier if I just run around the edge? No. What is that clock? What is that? Is that a new thing? What is that? Speedrunning shop. Speedrunning shop? I'm sorry? You can only purchase items in Speedrunning World Shop using Speedrun points. Speedrun can only be earned in Speedrunning Worlds. Yes, please. Are you drinking a bland green tea? Yes, but I got the temperature right this time. T1 Adventures outfit. Holy shit, that's kind of cool. A giant stopwatch? Speedy teleport scroll. Am I gonna do a speed run? Did you use your meat? I did use my meat thermometer, yes. Yeah. Okay. What else am I meant to use? I don't have anything else. You think I'm just a weirdo with a normal thermometer? Who does that? Who just has regular thermometers lying around in their house? It's ridiculous. A kettle with temperature control for like 20 quid. My kettle did come for 20 quid and it didn't come with temperature control. How is this a normal thing? I've never in my life seen a kettle with temperature control. This is news to me. In all my 30 young years. Like, I've never heard of this. This should be everything. Yes, kill ghosts. Let's do it. It's funny, I literally did this on my UIM the other day without a guide, and I've already forgotten all the steps. I mean, I remember some of them, but... yeah. Oh, he gave me a shitload of pie. Hell yeah. Oh, well, that's already rotten. Great. The memory was stored in your logs? I have no idea what you mean. Then Priest in Peril, did you happen to get any extra rune essence? Oh, I think I have like 6 left over. I only got like 2 inventory full. Yeah, I think I did get some pure essence from something else though. I might be able to offer some of that. I think pure essence works as well, right? I can check. I can check next time I get to a bank. Pure essence works and thing. Yeah, okay, good. I'll check what I got left. Because I just remember getting pure essence. Oh. I just remember getting pure essence for a request reward and I don't remember what it was. Or how many I got. What the fuck? There's not meant to be ghosts here! What am I meant to pick up? Mirror? Yeah. That's a search grotto. Oh fuck me, I brought way too much tuna. Let me just get rid of that. Journal. Okay. Use. How can I help? Oh, there's a bank in Canifis, isn't there? I can check there. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. So what do I need to do? Oh yeah, go get blessed by Drazzle. And then I become the object of faith. I remember that. It's gonna keep going for the pies, isn't it? I fucking hate this swamp so much. How far is the bank from here? Eh, it's not that far. I'll go have a look and see what I got. This quest is such a drag. I need to rush. I saw the soul runes. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna get into. I need to level up my magic just a couple more levels so that I can do the proper reanimation. But yeah, finally taking the wig off. Fuck off. God damn it. 15 pure essence. I'll chuck whatever I got in there. Yeah, it's not a great amount. Yeah, I'll grab the soul runes when I get around to the right level. I also need a bunch of nature runes, but I can sort of get them myself. I have been doing them myself. I've been stealing from the chest in Ardoin. But yes, my head is shaved. Thank you, Cran. Thank you for being the first person to acknowledge that. Look at the sunburn on the back of his head. Oh man, I can really feel the fucking sun. But I can also really feel the wind, which is nice. Effie mentioned it. Did she? Oh, yeah. To be fair, there was that one. Yeah. Yeah, fair. I guess that one kind of counts. Okay. But yeah, I decided to finally just do it. I have been blessed. My family crest is the demon of death. Did you weep? No, it just feels weird. Like, just not having anything to, like, stroke and pull and... I'm talking about hair, by the way. But, yeah, just, it's a weird feeling. Yeah. Yeah. It's confusing, for now at least. I'm sure it's going to be even more confusing when I wake up in the morning. Cast it near a rotten log to grow a mushroom. Fuck off. I got a fun guy! Use the mushroom in the... Okay, yes, time to place all the items. But yeah, it's been nice though, because like we were out for a walk down by the beach. My ponytail, I get it. Yeah, like you're always like sort of stroking something. You always kind of like, like, because my hair's often like down to the side here and I'm always sort of like playing with it and stuff, but now all I've got left is my beard. Man, we went to walk the dogs at the beach, and oh my fucking god, my sense of smell has never been so invaded in my life. I didn't know that like it was a beach that had like a lot of algae and seaweed just sort of washed up at the coast. I didn't know what that would smell like, and oh my my fucking god. It was awful. I don't understand how anything like that exists in nature. But yeah, probably never gonna do that again because that fucking stank. Like, it basically smelled like rotten corpses. Like, if you were to tell me somebody's dead body was bloating somewhere around there, I would believe you. Like, it was awful. Okay, thanks. Wait, what am I meant to do? Algae moment? I had no idea it would ever be that bad. Jesus fucking Christ. Use these to fill the druid pouch. Okay. Right click bloom the blessed sickle next to the rotten logs. Okay. So this part I always get confused about. I always forget. Oh, for fuck's sake. Come on. What? How did that not count? Try over here. There we go. Use it on here. You need 3 blossom. Oh, I just need to do it again. Okay. Bam. Use the filled druidic pouch on a ghast to kill. Oh, okay. I guess that worked. I couldn't use it, but yeah. Let's put the accuracy. How much health does this have? Careful. Shut fuck up. Listen, don't make fun of this moment. Anything could possibly happen. This is so dangerous. One wrong move. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it. Well, the next quest I've got on my list, I don't know why it's the next quest. Like, I've gone by, like, what it considers to be the optimal Iron Man order of completion. I'm not kind of, like, going off any order I've sort of put together. But the next one is the, if I recall correctly, it's the one that plays the what's the word? The legal rendition of the Rocky music. Their adaptation of Rocky. HCIM lost interest yet? No, everyone's been playing. Like, four of us are online? 3 of us are on. 4 of us. Yeah, I'm the 4th, obviously. Yeah, we're going strong. I think at the moment I have like the most total levels. I don't know if that's... I wouldn't say that's like representative of much because I've been doing a lot of quests. I think Ellen is probably by far the furthest in terms of like actual useful stuff. But yeah. betrayal in the wilderness. I'm always expecting it. The worst part is, at some point we will have to do, like, wilderness tasks, but I don't really feel like doing that right now. And there's also some quests that will take place in the wilderness. And there's also some clue scrolls that like to take you to the wilderness, but that's only at hard. And I don't think I'm going to take that. If I get a hard clue scroll that takes me to the wilderness, that is hitting the ground harder than anything in Gravity, really. Oh, hell yeah, oh my god, everything just fucking leveled up. As you can tell, I've not been actually leveling up anything through grinding. I've just been doing quests. Yeah, I don't get why... Oh, this gives the Barbarian Outpost course. Do I really need that? Oh, learn how to smash empty vials automatically. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. So, let's teleport the fuck on out of here. Where do I start? Barbarian. Oh. I have no idea. Every RuneScape stream looks the same to me. What do you mean? Can't you tell that this is the Nature's Grotto? The Nature Spirit's Grotto? You've been in this cave for days. See, this guy just did a Saradomin clue. Probably on a hard, elite, or master. Actually, no, they don't get master. Master clues give you the fucking, what is it, the Cabbage Mancer, or whatever it's called. The three motherfuckers who are just pieces of shit. I can't remember, I think there was something else, but... God, I had to fight those three, like, in max level wilderness, and that was awful once. Because you don't want to bring anything important that far into the wilderness, but you also need to really fucking kill those guys. I'm doing. Get my prayer back. I think I need to go out doing anyways. Man. I love how this green tea advertised itself as green tea with mango and passion fruit flavoring. I swear to God, I'm just drinking hot water that's been coloured by, like, chlorophyll or whatever it is that's called in, whatever it's called in the stuff in the leaves. Like, it doesn't taste like anything. Wait, why is this pie different? Oh, that's an apple pie. How the fuck did I get an apple pie? This doesn't require any combat. I could probably go naked. Bring the cake blue just in case on the chronicle. Recommended items. Good. Love that. Oh, I do require money. Okay. So now we need to make the lengthy trip to the Barbarian Outpost. Let's keep an messages. So I'm just checking some stuff. Okay. This could take a while. Oh. Yep. It's literally a bar crawl. Don't remember the last time I did that. Isn't this a mini quest? This is not an actual quest. It is a mini quest, okay. I assume this probably gives you access to like barbarian skills as well. Or at least the access to start doing barbarian skills, which is why it might be recommended. Man, a games necklace would be really... Actually, I could be able to make a games necklace. Nope, I can't get gold. Never mind. What quest can I do to get me gold? I don't think I can even... You should play this in first person. It's funny you should say that. I do actually have a first person mod, but it's so fucked. Let me see if I've got it still. Hang on. Yeah. It's really weird, like, because everything doesn't render properly. It's so fucked up. When you go inside, like, buildings and shit, it just goes so fucking weird. And you can't, and you can't talk to NPCs. Everything is just examined. Like, there's a lot of reasons as to why it's designed this way, and I think most of it is to avoid triggering Jagex. That's it. Yeah. I think because it's like a camera mod, they don't really want to get in trouble, you know, through, like, enhancing the actual gameplay, I think. I don't know what it is, but yeah. It's a funny idea. Like, it would be cool if you could just do it, but I think it's more they're trying to, like, not piss off, you know, Jagex. Okay, so where's it going? For 5 more must. Damn right. If I'm going out, I'm going out in a blaze of glory. By Dragon Wilds. I still have been saying this for the longest time. If they had just... Like, I feel like they would have been more successful selling a version of RuneScape Classic that you can just host locally. I don't understand why they don't just do that. I genuinely believe that would have sold more copies. Like, one that you can, like, modify the files and stuff like that. You can modify the server files. Like the value, like, you know, XP rates, item drops. Because, like, I'm saying this because I have a fucking private version of my own where I've modified the drop rates and modified the XP rates. It's actually not that hard. They just need someone who's competent and, like, literally one person who's competent to put it together. Let's take some fucking damage. Okay. Like, it's not going to be a huge success, but I feel like it would be a guaranteed one. Like, it would be a safe play for a lot of old school players like myself. You know, something to say, hey, we didn't actually abandon the game, we just couldn't afford to keep it up, so here, you can have it with all these cool little features. Because RuneScape Classic is, like, that shit is treasure. That is history. That is a heritage. Just so many things. Man, I should stream RuneScape Classic someday. That would be one fucking, like, crazy stream. Wow, my stats got fucked there. Jesus Christ. I'm pretty sure I have like 40-something attack. 45, okay. The BGM's always a bit louder than you. Oh, is it? How's that? Is that better? At least the last one was. I hope that's fine. Crazy how fast Crazy, how fast would it put us to sleep? Faster than your mum. Did it do it? Oh yeah, there we go. Falador. I don't know how to get to Falador any quicker than just running. Oh, hang on. If I use the Chronicle, I can cut corners. There we go. And then I can use this shortcut I now have access to. Yeah. Which means I'm going to plummet immediately upon attempting it. No, not gonna plummet. Nope, there it is. God damn it. Still a shortcut. Man, I should really do more agility. Maybe I should just do an agility training stream. It's like the most fun skill. Everyone thinks that. Just go this way. I really hope the next quest is actually decent. Because this one does kind of stuff. I will admit this quest is ass. It is literally just go to every single bar in RuneScape. I'm just glad they don't add, like, new bars into the quest. Let me see what the next quest is. Jungle Potion. Oh, is that the one I did on my fucking Ultimate Iron Man the other day as well? New bars to the quest at some point. Wait, fuck off, seriously? Well, these don't look like... None of these look like new zones. So, maybe it was just like a... Wait, maybe I can see the quest date now. Because it would have updated the quest date. ...2002. They had to have updated. Yeah, no. There's no way that was 2002. I mean, maybe I didn't know this was 2002. This was in the game in Classic. This is news to me. I didn't know this was in Classic. Holy shit. That's... Huh? Maybe it wasn't considered a quest back then. Maybe it was just like a random thing that wasn't tracked. Oh, that you couldn't track, rather. Alfred Grimhand's Barcrow. Let me see what it says in the, is there like an updates late list? No? Trivia. Weird. Huh. Okay, about it being updated. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe, but it does seem weird that it was 2002. When did RuneScape 2 come out? 2004. Yeah, so it was in Classic. Huh? What? The fuck is going on? I could literally just load up Classic right now and see if that quest is in there, and I'm like 99% sure it's not in there. Let me load up Classic real quick. Where did I put it? I think it's in here. RuneScape Classic. Version 2.4, yeah, there it is. I'm loading up RuneScape Classic because I need to get to the bottom of this. No, it's not in there. I'm gonna look this up. RuneScape Classic. What is it called? Alfred Grimhand Barkroll. RuneScape Classic is a mini quest. It's considered a rite of passage to complete. Okay, I think, yeah, okay, so it did get extra locations added from Classic, like after Classic, it seems. Classic had the two in Varrock, Falador, Port Sarim, Brimhaven, Sears Village. This one added Karamja? Yeah, Karamja and Ardoin, and the Grand Tree, Yanil. Yeah, this one did get a bunch added. It definitely doesn't appear in your quest list in this game, in Classic. Like, I'm looking at it right now, it's not there. So I guess mini-quests were just not tracked. I didn't know about I didn't know there were fucking mini-quests in Classic, that's nuts. Holy shit. Alright, let's close that. Longbow Ben. Wait, no, I must speak to him. I must speak to the bartender. Man, I can't wait for Sailing. Sailing's gonna be so fucking good. Oh my god, my stats. Please tell me there's like a way to restore my stats. That doesn't require a restore part. Can I make a restore part? Shit. Did I do it? Okay, let me get to Karamja. So wait, have I just done the Karamja count there? Because it doesn't look like it did. Is it called the Rusty Anchor? Yeah. You can use Restoration Pool. I'm going to Castle Wars portal. Oh, does Castle Wars just force reset it? Would Pest Control work? I'm next to Pest Control. It doesn't matter anyways, not right now. Anything Pest Control? Oh, okay. I'll leave it. I'm sure I won't have any combat in the next quest, right? That'd be crazy. What was my next quest? Fuck, I think this does have combat. Fuck, yeah, it does. Shit. Surviving in store 53 Jobers. Is this the one that I think it is? This isn't the one that I did on my Ultimate Iron Man. No. What is the point of this quest? Why would I need to do this one? Chug, chug, chug. Got the worst part is I have to get back to fucking... what's it called? I forgot the name of it. I'll get there in a second. Barbarian Outpost. Oh my god, there's a player. Why is he standing over the lava like that? What is he thinking? Doing the bar crawl. Okay, what's next? Ardoin? Oh, I can just take the boat from here, can't I? Would it be quicker if I took the boat from here? Kinda, yeah, I think it would be. Also, we need to figure out how, like, we as a group are going to do Shield of Erev. Because there's 5 of us. So, I think one person needs to, like, do something for multiple people. I mean, that would just get an alt, because you can do it with an alt anyways, but, yeah. I think I'm running low on alts to be able to do it. Shield of Erev have good rewards. Oh, I completed the task. I think Shield of Erev has good rewards. Have a look. Oh! 1k XP lamp. And kudos. Oh, I forgot about kudos. That's actually good. I should cross the bridge first. God, my defense is scary. I'm sure I'll get it back before I do anything messy. It's not like I've got enough run energy to actually do anything. Crawl. What's next? Sears Village. Okay. And then the Grand Tree. I feel like Grand Tree and Dragon Inn I could do a lot quicker by just teleporting to them. Because I can just use my book to get to Varrock, use the tree to teleport. And then for the other one I can just use my cloak and run the distance. It's still so hot today. It's not too hot actually, but I'm definitely feeling the heat. I could turn the fan up a bit actually. Oh yeah. remember they mentioned updating the energy regen rate for low levels, and I swear it's made no fucking difference. It's a lie as far as I'm aware. Would it take to get my fucking graceful set? I'm close to being able to afford one piece of graceful, which would be nice. It's not huge, but it's nice. Grand Tree, which is the stronghold. I think I might just spend like the rest of the, like once I'm done today, I'm just gonna spend the evening fucking training agility. As much as I want to do other quests, I just, man, this is so slow. Where's Burberry? That way. Is it Burberry or no, Blurberry? Just taking damage. Oh, hang on, I just realized what I could be doing to get my stats back. Yeah, I could just use prayer. It's like 4 times the rate now or something. 2 times the rate, even. Yeah. How much did it take to burn that? Yeah, that's fine. Through this, right? My agility hasn't been debuffed. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Sorry, I'm just reading about the patch notes to peak. And I can't believe... Oh my god, I made a joke about how the anti-rope stuff should have like negative weight because it's constantly pulling up. And they actually fucking did it. It now has a negative weight value. Holy shit. That's fucking nuts. That's awesome. refresh my stuff. Oh my god, my attack! Oh my god! Why? It didn't deserve this. What is this? Well, coconuts... Oh, whole coconuts will now bonk scouts when thrown at them. We're considering making every item bonk, but then none of you would ever reach the peak again. We have the ability to throw items at fruits and beehives to knock them down. Not sure when that broke, but we're so back. Jesus Christ. Bugle of Friendship will no longer show up in solo play. That's nice. I thought you were only drained like 10. What happened? I finished the quest. I mean, I just finished doing all of the things. It just keeps going. It just keeps draining and draining and draining. So now I'm just... I've done all of them now. I've done all the drinks and I'm currently just using Rapid Restore. yeah. I've just got like Rapid Restore trying to fucking save me. That's all I've got left. It's... yeah. It's painful. I just hope that the next quest has a bit of time before I have to fight anything. Or encounter anything. Dog is so dead. She had a wonderful time at the beach. She didn't understand what was happening. She kept getting spooked by the tides as they kept like rolling in. She kept like backing off like, whoa. What the fuck is this? Why is it coming at me? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Sorry. So now the bar crawl is going to be done, and that gives me access to the agility course, which I don't really have use for. I think is the agility course good XP? I mean, I don't really care. To be fair, I'm not really too fussed about the XP right now. I'm more keen on getting marks of grace. I think XP while gaining Mark of Grace is probably way better. Shaved his head, lost his power. Fuck you, man. I'm regaining my power, or is leaking out the back. Fuck's sake. Yes, please, I want to smash my vials. Hell yeah! Fuck vials, man. Who's got time to re-water vials? Let's see. Oh, Scorpion Catcher. That's good for something. Oh. Ready to have Thormac turn a battle staff into a mystic staff for 40,000 coins. What? Is that any battle staff? Hold up. Isn't there like a massive difference in price between certain ones? Hang on. No, that's not right. What is I'm thinking? I swear there's a staff that's like super expensive. Was it? Wasn't Steam, was it? What staff was it that's like ridiculously fucking expensive? Mist? Well, Mist is 109k. What about Mist battle stuff? Shadow? Not Shadow. Oh. It's really weird. I could have sworn there was like one of the combination runes. One of the combination mystic stars were like really fucking expensive, but I don't remember which one it was. Dust? No. Am I going crazy here? Like, what the fuck? Smoke! There we go. Okay. So how much is the smoke battle stuff? Oh. 170k difference. Might be something there. Obviously you have to guarantee selling it at the price that's shown, but how do you get these stars then? So this one is obtained through the thermonuclear smoke devil. Really? You can only get that from the fucking boss? Or the superior? Oh. Well, no wonder that costs so fucking much. Jesus Christ. That's so fucked up. So let me get this straight. In order to get the smoke battle stuff, you have to... Nah, there's got to be another way, right? Only obtain... Nope, that's the only way. So you have to get a... You have to not only get a chance of running into the Slayer task that gets you the smoke devils. You also need the 1 in 200 chance that spawns the fucking superior. And then on top of that, you also need a 1 in 512 chance on that superior to fucking get the item to drop. What the fuck? Why? Oh, my stats are back. Oh, did he restore my stats when I cleared this? I guess he must have. What do I need here? Dusty key. Oh no. Oh, this one is gonna ask me to go through the black demons, and I'm not doing this, not without protect from melee. Yeah, no, I'm not fucking stupid. So you keep paying the sum. Gotta find some way, huh? It's not, like, it's 100% not worth grinding. Vampire Slayer, attack XP, Pulsion of Interest. Oh, this is kind of worth doing. Death Plateau. Isn't this really risky? What gives prayer XP? Let me see what gives prayer. OSRS prayer XP quests. Making history. That's really shit. Mountain Daughter, Ghosts Ahoy. Another slice of ham. American Bone Man 2. It force started though. I don't know if I want to do that. Close that. Where did it go? Who's this? his faithful servants. Oh, I'll just go do Barrows. Yeah, 20k XP easy. I mean, it's not like I need prayer anyways. It consumes it mid Barrows. Yeah, this isn't ideal. What about the Grand Tree? Grand Tree could be enough. Grand Tree's a very nice one. Isn't this the one that has, yeah, the level 172? Without taking a single hit. We're all skilled enough for that. I mean, I've seen the achievement for not taking a single hit. I don't know about that. I kind of don't think that's such a good idea. I've not done it on my main. Like, where is it? It's the collections logged. Barrows. No, not collections. What am I talking about? There's the combat tasks. It's a terrible idea, yeah. Bosses. There's Barrows. Collection log, but for God's sakes. How do you use this fucking interface? Bosslet. Tasks. Here we go. Barrows. Just like that. No. Kill Carol using only damage dealt by special attacks? How the fuck do you do that? Kill all Barrows brothers and loot Barrows' chest without ever having more than 0 prayer points. Damn! Pray for success. Without taking any damage from any of the brothers. Yeah, there it is. That's only silver? Or whatever, like iron? He's not ready? I'm definitely not ready. I'm not fucking ready on my main to do shit like that. Oh no! No, there it is. Can't touch me. Kill Darok, Varrock, so all the melee ones to not hit you. Barrows champion, I've got that. Kill any Barrows brother using only magical damage? That's not hard. I think I've done that actually, because I swear there is one that is easy to kill with magic. I feel like I have. Like, they're all technically weak to air magic. And the Barrows, yeah, I've done that. Maybe I should go do Scarius real quick. That's a joke, I'm not fucking touching Scarius. I think Grand Tree is doable. I think Grand Tree is relatively easy. What's the safe spot for the Black Demon though? Because I'm pretty sure I recall needing a person to block the demon. Safe spot. Oh, did that change? Safe spot's just next to the ladder. Oh, is it? Oh, even, I guess it marks it on Runelight as well. Huh. Cool. Alright. What are Black Demons weak to? What element of spell? Water. Okay. That's good to know. Maybe I get, let's teleport to Varrock. We can buy stuff over there. Runes, that is. I could probably consume some of my lore runes. Actually, saying that, you can get a ton of lore runes, right, Alan? Maybe. Like, potentially a metric ton, right? Like an absolute gigaton. If that would be okay. Get to work. No, but it's because Alan's got access to a vendor. They're kind of pricey. You know what? I will drop you 10k. And you can use my 10k. Yeah. There. Just for my lore runes. Because that's 10k is. I mean, lore runes are like what, 200, 250 each, I think. Osiris. Lore rune. Where is it? Wait, is it discounted? Oh no, hang on, there it is. Oh, it is a lot more pricey with this guy. That's funny how the only shop that says discount is the highest price. So 300. What is that? It's not divisible by 10,000, but that's 33 lore runes. Shit. It'll do. It'll do. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start using lore runes to get around. It's getting a little tiresome. 33 lore runes coming up. Thank you very much. It doesn't have to be right now. Like, you can take your time. Like, I do have some on me at the moment that I can get around with. I don't need that. That's fine for magic, that's not. That is. Awesome. Looking the part. Do I have no fire? Oh no, I do have fire. Okay. So let's stock up. Oh, where's my mind runes? Mind runes to do attacks. There it is. Okay, I don't need to stock up on mind at least. I just need to stock up on all the others. And this kind of just cuts out a lot of the bullshit with what's it called? Traveling. This makes it a lot easier. Is this the right way? Yeah, there it is. They're in. I haven't. Nice. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and grab those before some other goober just goes in there and goes, "Oh, free lore runes." I'm gonna be so mad. Thank you. There we go. Right. So, bring the following items. What? It doesn't say. Oh, they give me the items throughout the quest. I was gonna say. What does it say? Combat gear, safe spotting is possible. Yeah, that's actually a point. I'm gonna bring some food just in case I get, like, swiped by some shit. Just through whatever misfortune. So, grand tree, make sure it's empty. Yeah, that's fine. Just head for the tree over here. I really need a wizard top. This is so stupid. God, actually, the fucking elemental shield wouldn't be too bad either. Because that gives an attack boost, doesn't it? God, there's just so much I want to do. Like, not in terms of quests, but in terms of leveling. Like, I want to get my Slayer done, or at least some of my Slayer levels. I want to get my fucking agility levels. I want to get thieving so I can clearly afford more lore runes. Because I don't want to fucking sit and do another wine run. That shit is miserable. If I can get Val and more thieving, that would be nice. Let's do it. I really think they need to change the guidelines for questing in this game. It's so misleading whenever it says you need to be. We only recommend you be combat level 50 for this quest, and like throwing a fucking level 172 demon at you is like, yeah, you only need to be level 50. New players don't get it. Yeah. Where am I going? Island east of you now. Oh. Wait, how far is that? Far. This way. Kinda hungry. Taking about the proper way with full inventory of food and gear. True, but like, it's just I just feel like if you're new to RuneScape, I feel like the guideline was made by someone who's played the game too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone who's obviously understanding of how to clear it at level 50 in general, but not if someone was a brand new level 50 person. I feel like the brand new level 50 players probably don't have the the knowledge of what that means. You know, I feel like if anything, it should just say you will go up against the level 172. Truly embracing it. Yeah. It got done. I did it. I finally freed my scalp, my skull, my cranium. Letting it breathe. Feel the windy wind. Feels weird. It's really weird. Easy to look up. That's ultimately it, right? Like, one of the biggest issues around the house is my dog shedding her hair, and then me shedding hair on top of that. So then there's just like this combination of hairs. Oh, I need to be careful. These guys are poisonous, aren't they? Did it say anything about anti-poison? No, they're not poisonous. But yeah, just a fusion of like hair shedding. It's just so now that makes it a bit easier. You need to start keeping birds. They use that stuff. For nests. I mean, technically, I have plenty of birds in my garden. Like, they just live in the hedges. You said shed, but it definitely sounded like shit. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a very good point. He's a kiwi. That's a niche reference. Shitting my head, me shitting. Yeah. Oh, why did I use a Varrock? I could have used the... Actually, no, I prefer Varrock teleport, fuck it. We're going balls to the wall, we're spending it all. No stronghold. Oh god, is this the one where you get like sent to fucking Karamja, like on a glider? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Definitely doesn't say anything about poison. Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's none of the above, none of the above. Man came to me with the king's seal, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Talk to Gloff. Oh, I remember this. I think I did this on my UIM. So Gloff is like conspiring. Oh, is it Gloff? I don't know how to pronounce it. Glau, maybe. He's like conspiring to start a war with. Was it like humans or something? He's like creating some bullshit to convince the king to go and fight humans to reclaim gnome kind and whatnot. And he's like working with he's like working with some folks in Karamja who are like building ships for him. I think that was the basis. It's been a while since I did this on my UIM. Okay. Or at least I'm pretty sure I did something. I don't remember, but I feel like I did. I have such a strong understanding for the story, so it has to be. Covered. Oh, that was easy. He just doesn't give a fuck that I just went through shit. Oh, yeah, and then I get arrested, and then I get freed by the king and whatnot. Oh, hey there. Okay. Travel with the glider to escape. Take me to Karamja, please. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? Jesus. That's so me. I just like immediately fucking spawn and just eat shit. Glad I decided to bring the fucking tuna. Gloff sent me. Yeah, it's bright. And no, it's not because of my head. Oh shit, the Messiah's in your fucking room. Yeah, it's my camera exposure's stupid. So that you can either kill him or talk to him. I choose kill. I choose violence. Let's do air. Eat shit, motherfucker. Yeah, take that. Yeah. Yeah. You fucking get him. If only that railing wasn't there. Well, then he'd just go into the water. Lumber order. Wow, he respawned quick. God damn. You won't be able to enter through the speak with Femi. We're outside the main gate. And make use of the spirit tree. I was gonna say I can just use the spirit tree, right? To Varrock. You could have just talked to him. It said I could have just talked to him, but you know what it also said? I could have killed him, and so I killed him. I know what my options were, and I chose violence. Happily chose violence. Going this way. Digby spotted. What? Did I run past you? Gangman taking stuff. I don't got anything! Did you go near me? Was I near you? Oh shit, sorry. I'm not paying attention. I was on rooftop. Oh, I see. Oh, are you doing Varrock now? Yeah, I've been considering catching up with my agility because fucking energy keeps running out. It's fucking irritating. I have to do it at some stage. Yeah, exactly. It's such an important fucking skill, but my god, it's ass. Do it sooner. So I can run around questing. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of what I did. Like, I got it to 30 immediately before I really got started on anything. I want to assume it helped, but I don't really know. Couldn't fucking tell you. Like, what were the new energy rates? Because they did change them not long ago. SRS energy rates. I'm not looking for weight. Oh, here it is. Seconds per 1%. So I get 3. I get 1% energy every 3 seconds. 3.3 seconds. At the moment. I hate it. Ugh. Okay. Wait, what about with Graceful? So with Graceful... God, that's so good! I need that so bad! Wow, I just saw the attack XP on this. Holy fuck. That's big. Oh, and the agility! I didn't even realize that I'm getting agility XP! Let's go! Fuck yeah! Now we're cooking. Big demon time? Yeah, it'll be fine. Should be alright. I've brought water spells just for this. I'm gonna ask him what are you up to while I kill him. You found a scroll. No way. Let's just walk a bit because I want to be able to run when I fight the demon. I don't think, like, it looks like there's plenty of time to move away from it, but I'd rather play it safe and make sure I got energy. No way! God, I fucking love that. SS Amnesia. Why? I'm gonna go back to his fucking house. Okay. Climb a tree. Okay, so let's spell Tuzo. Okay, let's pop that run energy. Let's do it. Demon time. God, it looks so good. Look at the little guy. Oh, that's not a little guy. So I should be safe here. Oh, I need to bring it out a bit. Easy. Easiest quest of my life. Oh, fucking max hit splat at 11? Oh, with just mind runes? Like, man, I look so good. Be humble. Shut the fuck. God damn it. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about this. Prick. We need to go full thumb. Nah, that ain't happening. The beard is staying. I am never getting rid of this beard. It's all I have left. If I raise 10k for charity. Oh, good on you for raising 10k for charity. I'm not shaving my beard. Stream jingle jam. Yeah. Raise 10k. Yeah. Give me that 10k and then I'll shave my beard. The 10k is you shave. No. No. Listen, a lot of stuff in my house is broken down. I could do with that money. I am a charity. Plus, I'm not a big fan of doing like stuff for big name charities. Not. Obviously, I don't have anything against charity in general. It's just I'd rather pick something local that I'm actually aware of. I want a hot tub. Yeah. Like, I've always thought about doing charity stuff, but like, I've been approached by charities before, and I've always asked them questions, and it just, nothing usually vibed with me. To where his wants his hot water to work. Yeah. I have been having cold baths for the last 5 months to clean myself because I don't have hot water. It's been awful. But yeah. I'm gonna get the shower fixed, but yeah. It's just I've not had the money in the last few months. You can't clean yourself properly. Yeah, I'm well aware. It's awful. It's a terrible experience. And I have to scrub really hard in really cold water. I did have a shower at my friend's place today, though. You probably smell like that beach. Nah, like I am unironically clean right now. Don't scrub your bags. Oh my god. But yeah, like it's been very unpleasant. But Like, I'm gonna get it fixed next month. It's just I've had to make some other. I've had to like spend money on other things in the last couple of months. This month I had the like garden done because the hedge was like leaning over into the fucking like into the not into the road but like into pavement and stuff. So it's kind of being a bit obstructive and really fucking big, and it had to get done. He needs money. Start subbing. No, don't sub. Just give me the money. Don't fucking sub, because half of that goes to some cunt. You, yeah. Is this random? Yeah, this is random, isn't it? It doesn't pay me because people don't sub. What do you mean? I pay you in this great content. Let's see. Is that it? Am I done? Oh, big XP. Let's go. Let's see those levels. 36 agility. 47 attack. The other one I don't think matters that much. Oh, it's combat level. Wait, what was the other one? It was like magic XP or some shit, right? Yeah, I don't really get anywhere. Easy. So now I have like access to the spirit tree here because it was like ignoring me before. What's another good one to do? Goblin diplomacy. Why is that so low down the list? Spirit tree is actually so good. Yeah, it really. I'm fucking glad I got this one done. The XP alone was nuts. Vampire Slayer. What does that give? 4,000 attack XP. RFD. Recipe for disaster. Tribal totem, thieving XP. What if I just do regular optimal? See what comes up. Entirely rescue. Doric's quest? I haven't done Doric's quest? What the fuck? A tourist trap. This is pretty good to do, isn't it? XP bonus, agility, fletching, smithing. What do I need to do here? Level 47 mercenary captain. Pretty doable. But I am hungry, so I'm gonna take the dog out and I'll come back in a bit. No, Rob. You fucking hit me. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Oh, my legs now. I guess we could try the tourist trap. It would be nice to get those lamps for agility. Sort through my stuff. Okay, so what do I need? Bronze bars. Do we have them in the... Oh, it's in my bag. I have oh shit, I do have bronze bars. Nice. 50 feathers. Any pickaxe? Why would I need a pickaxe? I'll take it, whatever. Knife. There's a knife. Water skins and stuff. I'll bring my lobster. I need to fish some more lobsters. I was gonna give these to the group, but I don't have many, so I'll do it afterwards in my spare time. I'll get like a stack, a couple stacks. Inventory full stuff. Two more just in case. Looks like everything. Yeah, let's go do it. Oh, hang on. Like, yeah, that'd be nice. Would be good, I guess. Alright. I'll just do hand teleport for now. Let's just set my quick prayers to these two bad boys. Actually, better yet. That is what. No, not that. That and that. I also need to buy a pass to get through, don't I? I'm gonna be broke. I need to get some fucking money. Let me save my run energy for when I go through the desert. Equip all combat gear and enter the camp. Oh, you fuck. Oh, I'm not gonna have a lot of room. Oh, wait, I can. Okay, I can just. The combat happens before any of this starts, so that's fine. Let me go ahead and bypass. Shirt, robe, boots. Oh, I need to make some room. I'm gonna get rid of one lobster. I have to just fucking trade. Because I want to carry at least 2 extra water skins. There we go. Yeah, go through. Yes, start the tourist strip. It's just the camp that's down here, isn't it? Yeah. Fucking beeline. I need to watch out for these cunts. They actually do quite a bit of damage. So, talk to the mercenary camp. When he attacks, you kill him for the key. That's probably... let me put my gear on. Talk to... Attack on actually, just to guarantee the hits. Oh my god, my prayer is getting fucked. It's fine. I think getting him halfway and I've still got a ton of food. I should be alright. This guy's really weak. I did not expect him to... Oh, I'm actually really high in combat level, 49. Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't need to worry so much and bring so much food. Well, that's a waste of lobsters because I can't really carry everything. Do the desert robes count as combat gear? I hope not. I should probably not take any chances. There we go. Did we get the key? Yep. Oh no, I think you can wear the desert stuff. I just need to take off the rest of my stuff. I need more room. Okay, take that off, that off, that off. That and that. Okay, open gate. Okay, that seems fine. Talk to the male slave. Ow, what the fuck? I'll trade. Okay. Oh, okay, so swapped out my gear for the thing. Okay, cool. Pick the slave clothes and enter the mine door. Cool. Follow the cave around and talk to the guard guarding the deeper cave. So I'm trying to make sure I don't get kicked out of the camp because there's so much, like... so many worrisome instructions. Rather worrisome in the sense that I might fuck something up. I'm just being worried. Talk to the guard. Yeah, talk. ability to smith darts. Oh, making darts is actually kind of nice. The XP on those things go fucking hard. I remember, like, when I needed 70 fletching for, was it Song of the Elves? I just bought so many fucking, I think I bought unfinished darts or something and just spam clicked the feather, like attaching feathers to it, and that was just, my wrists were killing me, but my god, the XP rate was so it was like 2 million XP an hour. It was so busted. Talk to the guy. Where? What is it saying? Where's Better been? Oh, it's a crow. Okay, so just walk out. That was easy. They're okay with someone in slave attire just walking away. Cool. Well, maybe I should cut some of these on the way. Failed. Hell yeah. Just avoid the fucking camel. That motherfucker hits hard. Yes, I'm interested. Gives you a key. Oh, fuck. Okay, hang on. Maybe pick that up. I'm going back to the camp. Okay. Level 126 doing this quest for his first time. How do people max their fucking combat before even doing quests? I don't get it. It's like a fucking bot account that just gets fucking bought. Oh shit. Leave me alone. Should be fine to just walk in. Doing here, I wanted to have a chat. You seem to have a lot of books. So you're interested in sailing? Wait, sailing? Why are we talking about sailing? Hmm? Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. So now, back to bed. I hate this quest. But the agility XP, though, it's gonna be so nice. Like, what is that? Nearly 9k XP. How much would that get me? Look away. More than level 35 at least. Oh wait, that's thieving I'm looking at. Hold up. There's agility. Probably get me to 38, maybe 39. Quite nice. To consume some of the shit in the fucking inventory. An experimental anvil. Use bronze bar. Yes, I'd like to try. Fail? There we go. Feathers. Okay, do I just need to try again? Did I do it? Oh, there it is. Prototype that. So you don't need 3, is it just like recommending 3 in case you fuck it up or something? Maybe? Okay. Oh god, I've got some room in my fucking bag. Never mind. Oh no, I got it back again. Tenty pineapple. What the hell? Unequip okay, yeah. Into the mine door northeast of the camp. Fill the cave into the mine. Blah 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 blah. That's so many fucking things. Holy shit. God, it'd be so good if like drinking water skin restored some energy. That'd be pretty huge. Like, obviously because it's not your choice when the water skin gets drunk. But that'd be kind of pog. Quickly before I get attacked. Why did the other guy attack? I don't get why the guard attacked me randomly. Whatever. Okay. And talk to the guard, right? Talk to. Wait, why is there so many different? There we go. Cool. Walk through. Right click, search the barrel. Where is it? This way. Which barrel? It's not highlighting any barrel. Next to the minecart. There's a few of them. This one? Next to the minecart. For a barrel. Barrels are quite big. You may be able to carry one. Would you like to take one? Sure. Do I want an empty barrel? Oh. Oh, no, someone else picked one up earlier. I guess that might have been what happened. Yes. Okay. Search the minecart to ride it to the next room. Yes, of course. Did I just hurt myself getting in? You bang your knee on the cart. Are you fucking kidding me? There we go. Just gonna pretend I didn't just look like an idiot in front of all these workers. What is this? Couldn't I have just walked through here? Okay. Follow the path west and then north. Okay. Until you find Anna, use the barrel on her. Okay. Use barrel on Anna. It's a perfectly normal thing to do. Right in front of the guard as well. What do you think you're doing? Shush, it's for your own good. Okay. So now I just have an NPC in a barrel. Awesome. What's my weight? 76 kg. Use Anna on the minecart. You came in on. Return in the minecart you came in on. Okay. Christ. Anna in a barrel. NPC in a barrel is an eternal mood. It's one hell of a fucking mood, yeah. Okay. God, do I have to wait for this every time? How do I skip cutscene? Ugh. Is the barrel just gonna get returned to me? That means someone emptied a barrel with a human inside of it and didn't think to question anything. So do I search? Yes, I'd like to try. Search the barrel next to the minecart. For Anna. Jesus Christ. That looks pretty empty. I don't see anyone with their head poking out. Oh no, it is that. It is her. Okay, we got her back. We're gonna right click, use the winch bucket. Do you need a hand? Yes, please. Okay, there's a very fucking awkward dialogue happening. Can we just... there we go. Return to the surface. If Anna was captured again, search the barrel. Why would she get captured again? How would that happen? Through my own faults, or is it RNG? I really hope it's not fucking RNG. Is it operate? Right click operate. And search the barrel west of the winch. Oh, it's highlighted, okay. You find Anna. There we go. And then use Anna on the cart in the middle of the camp. Use Anna on the cart. Cool. And then talk to the main cart driver. Once he's agreed to take you, right click, search the wooden. Okay. Nice cart. Yeah. Okay, is that it? Right click search the cart to escape. Bring Anna to Irina south of Shantae Park. Couldn't she just get out of the barrel at that point? Why? I still have to just carry her in a fucking barrel for the rest of this? You kidding me? Why can't I just drop her? What is this? I feel like I've complained about this before. I'm getting deja vu. I'm gonna put my gear on, fuck it, I've got plenty of water skin to survive. Fend against the desert wolves. No, but don't leave her in a barrel in the desert. Like, let her walk herself. She can walk. Bullshit. Talk to Irina. Agility, please. Hell yeah. Choose your second skill. Agility, please. Hell yeah. Level 39? Damn. Oh, hell yeah. And making throwing darts is fucking huge. Alright, let's go through the pass. That is so nice, holy fuck. That's already getting me close to doing, what is it, Canifis? Isn't Canifis like the best for Marks of Grace as well? If I recall correctly. Yeah. It is. I need to get that. Right, so... What else could I do? What time is it? The part of me kind of wants to take it easy now because I want to go make some lunch for dinner. I've had a long fucking day. Yeah, I think I might just get on with agility training. I might grab those lobsters first and share it with the group. Tired today. I might stream tomorrow, I don't know yet, but we'll see. I still want to get to work on some ideas, which I didn't really get to do much of yesterday, unfortunately, but yeah, hopefully I'll get more time tomorrow. Let's see, who is streaming? Jenna's back on Claire Obscure? Let's fucking do it. Read Jenna. Yes. Is that right? I think I got that right. Yeah. But yeah. I might be on tomorrow, I don't know. Like either way I'm gonna be on Friday, but could always take the Friday off instead. We'll see. But yeah. I'm gonna keep playing this in the meantime. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.